Okay, so we'll begin. So this is our first webinar, so you'll have to excuse us for making mistakes or anything like that, but type your questions in the questions box at any point during the webinar and we'll answer them when we get to the end. And they can be questions about dreams or the course or any ideas you have or questions for Heidi, and she'll channel the answers for you too. So I know most of you are probably following my website and our radio show, so you're already familiar with our work, but what I want to just cover here is what we are going to cover today. We're going to talk about how dreams reveal your life purpose and how they show your spiritual abilities or psychic gifts. We all come to the planet with an ability, and we bring it to help other people, and in helping other people it's going to also help us. So that's super important, and that's what we're covering. We're also going to, if people have questions about it, we'll cover karma and dharma and their ways of living our life purpose, and angels and guides, especially because we have Heidi on the line. And I see we're getting questions. So I hope people can hear me at this point. Everything is running fine. So a little bit about me. I've been teaching dream interpretation since 1992-ish. And for several years, I simultaneously had a regular spot on national TV and 2 different radio shows, 98 FM and Country Mix. So that was over a good few years. And I also, in 2007, I wrote a book called How to Interpret Your Dreams and Discover Your Life Purpose. Of course, I've retired on the income I generate from that book, I wish. And then just this year, I published another book called My Journey to Awakening. And the subtitle of that one is Lessons Shared to Amuse, Uplift, and Inspire You to Follow Your Life Purpose. So you can see life purpose has always been my bugbear, always the thing I'm interested in. My second book is quite a short book, and I wrote it in more my style. It's more humorous. But it was because I got asked a lot of questions about what got me into this and so on, and that answers that. I also do a radio show called So You Think You're Awake. I do it on KKNW on Thursdays. Heidi is a co-host on that show as well, and so is Susan Pullen, who's in the picture there. And we have archives of that show available on YouTube and on iTunes and on SoundCloud, although we'll be stopping the SoundCloud soon. And this is the last show we did. We entitled it Moving On From Fear. And as I said, Heidi's involved in that, huge involvement in the show. Indeed, she writes some of the shows and narrates them. And really, I should have you be saying this, Heidi. So.
Last week was the first show that I wrote. I was quite proud of it myself. So what I do is when I'm writing, I do channel at the same time, and I do actually get a hint of what, who the listeners are and what they need to hear and what messages at that present time. Of course, you have a collective consciousness, a collective energy, and that is a lot of what I tune into when I'm writing the show. And of course, it follows the dreams. So the dreams that we select for the show is sent in through to dream-analysis.com, and that's what we pick from. And of course, we have a lot of you that send in dreams too. So that is what makes up the show. But really, the show is just a taster of what the course is about.
Yeah.
It's just a fraction of what you get in the course, which is really why we do the show, is to lead people to the course.
I'm going to turn my mic back on. So, so basically Heidi's a medium, a professional medium. She's also a graduate of North Seattle College. She's a medical assistant, and but she makes her living from giving readings and has done for the last 10 years. But she's been able to channel all her life. And while she said she wrote last week's show, she wrote the whole thing from start to finish, but she's written segments for many of the other shows. And we're trying out new formats, but we got really good feedback from last week's show, so we're going to do more of that. So then the focus of today, and you're going to learn, hopefully, by me examining a few dreams from people. These are real dreams. And by looking at the detail that we get out of those, and I'm going to go fast, but hopefully it makes sense because I want it to be kind of entertaining. When you see the detail that you can get from those dreams, it should encourage you to look at your own dreams more. And of course, there's an awful lot of information on the show and on the website and so on that you can look at your own dreams too. So what did you bring, or why did you bring it, and how are you to use it? That's really what the focus is here, because we all brought something. And I always meet people who either are not in the spiritual field at all and don't know that they have anything that they should be doing there. And they're always surprised then to find out what it is. It usually takes about 2 years or 2.5 years from somebody finding out fresh, this is what they're meant to be doing, to actually doing it. It's not a very long period of time when you consider some people are in their 40s before they find out. So 2 years is not long, and it's an enjoyable journey. But anyway, that's what we're going to look at here. So feel free to type in questions if I cover something that I didn't do in enough detail. Type it in. Heidi's looking at the chat and she's going to shout and let me know if I'm missing something. So let's have a look at some dreams, and this is where it gets interesting. So here's a simple dream. I'm in a rooftop restaurant. The moon is shining. All around there are tables for two lit by candles. The tables are green with peach lampshades. There are parties of two at all the tables. I'm alone in the enclosed place. The place is surrounded by a strange conglomeration of irregular buildings. I'm aware that a motley crew, although very different, are living together harmoniously in each of these buildings. Everyone is expecting the arrival of a VIP, a barrister. He arrives and introduces his wife to me. So straight away, it seems like it makes no sense. And all dreams are like that initially. They seem like they make no sense. Now, on the course and in the book, I have an extensive dictionary. I'm not going to explain here why symbols mean what they mean, at least not in any detail. So I just want to show you what we can get from a dream. But trust me, there's a lot of reasons why particular symbols mean particular things. And there's a lot of structure in the course too about how dreams lay out and how all the symbols are linked and so on. Again, we're not going to cover that here. But anyway, we start off, the first thing we see is it's a rooftop restaurant. So we know straight away it's about the dreamer's spiritual side or their higher purpose because it takes place in a higher location. Then we see the moon, candles and lamps, and these all mean the same thing. They all tell us that the dreamer is psychic, and a psychic is somebody who gets information through feelings. It's a very misused word. So in a dream, it means strong intuition. And then we also see green and peach, and we have a barrister, and a barrister is a senior counselor in a court. So those three things together represent that the dreamer is a counselor. So we know she's got counseling skills and she's got a psychic ability. So she's meant to use these together in her life, helping other people, and her psychic ability working in tandem with it is going to give her clues as to where she needs to navigate with her clients. And that's why they show up in the same dream. But we have other things in here. What type of counselor is she meant to be? And we have tables for two, parties for two are highlighted, and then we have a spouse is introduced. So we have three symbols in the same dream that says you're meant to work with couples. So very clear then, a counselor who's to work with couples. So very specific. And then there's also interesting phrases that the dreamer uses. These are all her words. She says, the place is surrounded by a strange conglomeration of irregular buildings. So that really highlights the fact that she has an ability to see the distinctiveness in other people. So she can see all the differences in the people. And she says she's aware that a motley crew, although very different, are living together harmoniously in each of these buildings. So this is her special sight. She has the ability to see how people can live together in harmony. So even if we could get nothing else out of the dream, we can get it from that sentence too. And then there's one other thing, she's alone in the enclosed place. So the dream tries to make sense of why she's felt alone on the planet all the way along. And it's this isolation or feeling, this lack of a bond with the earth plane that caused her to step back, that gives her the ability from birth to look at things from a distance and see their distinctiveness. So it's not a college education that gives you a counseling skill. You're born with it. You can get a qualification even if you're not a counselor. It's your dreams are going to show you what you brought with you. This is what she brought with her. So we can see from the dream things that she needs to work on to her sense of being alone. But anyway, that's a our first example of how a dream reveals, I'm looking at the time, how a dream reveals specifically what somebody's life purpose is. So let's have a look at another one. And again, if you have questions, shout them out. So here's one. I had many dreams in one night where I was writing my signature, and I specifically noticed how it had improved. In the dream, all I could see was the tip of the pen writing on the paper. So very straightforward. We have writing and we have a pen in the dream. So both those symbols, the action and the pen itself, tell us that the dreamer is a writer. And then what stands out here is noticing how the writing is improving. So this dreamer had an idea that they could write, but had never thought about writing a book. And the dream is pointing out to them, look, you can go further than the blog that you've been writing and write something more. So he's been encouraged to notice the improvement, and then writing the signature over and over again and noticing it improving. The dream is really specifically saying you're going to make a name for yourself through writing. So very, very clear. Now this is a very short dream, tells us straight away, it's very punchy, saying here's what you came here to do. Now we would all love that type of dream, and we do all get them from time to time. But the same dreamer has this other dream, if we can move on to that. And this is going to give more detail. Excuse me. So I was driving my car in heavy traffic through a business area of the capital. Somehow I ended up facing a man who was drunk. He wasn't completely drunk, but had drunk enough not to be sober. He was standing under the cargo container of an articulated lorry. The container was somehow suspended in the air above his head. His pose was as if rapier sword fighting, with one hand held up high but holding a drink and the other outstretched with a broken bottle pointing in my direction. So again, we know that this dreamer is a writer. So this is our dreams. It's almost easier to interpret a few dreams from the same dreamer than it is to interpret one particular one. So here we know it's about writing, and we get it in this dream from the articulated lorry. Now, more common in America would be, I don't know what you call them, articulated buses, the buses that bend, anything that has that articulated joint that allows it to bend. So in Europe, they're called articulated lorries. You guys call them semis. But so if you have that in a dream, it means that you're a writer because of the pun on articulation. So we know he's a writer. We already knew from his other dream. But in this one, we see heavy traffic and a business area. And these two things tell us that it's about the dreamer's writing career, not just their writing. So sometimes we can have an ability that we're going to use for ourselves, and it'll be interesting and fun for us. But here we're specifically told you've got a career in writing. What else have we got then? So we have, normally we go through dreams and we look at a formula called I am and I need that helps us extract the symbols. So these dreams kind of have pieces of that in it, even though we're ignoring it. So that's why we have the I need title there. Anyway, so driving a car in a dream is about achieving your goal, because we use cars to get from where we are to where we need to be. So when we know this is about writing, it's about achieving, the dreamer achieving their goal of writing. Then we have facing a man who is drunk. So the dreamer's being told, look, you need to face up to your drinking. Now, the dreamer's going to know this. They mightn't want to tell other people, but they'll know it themselves. And then we have suspended and held up. So the dreamer's doing something to block their writing. Now we already know what it is. We know it's the drinking. And then we have the rapier sword and holding a drink. So the dreamer has a strong wit, and they're being told that their sharp wit is being suspended or suppressed by their drinking, which of course is going to dull their writing. Very straightforward. And then the broken bottle. So dreams cover a lot of things. They cover relationships, career, our abilities that we're looking at now, but they also cover health and many other things, you know, diet and so on. So here the dream points at, okay, you've got a writing ability. It's being affected because you're drinking. It's being suspended, but it's also going to damage your kidneys. And that's what the broken bottle is about here. So while we focus on life purpose, dreams are also going to tell us other things that we need to look at, and we definitely pick up on those. We don't skip those whatsoever. So the drinking is damaging the kidneys. And then the cargo container, which is up high. Anything high in a dream is really positive. It's saying it's something you need to look up to or aspire to. So the cargo container, because it's all connected with writing, says that the dreamer has a volume of work that they're going to write. So all very positive. So that gives us an idea of what we can get from a dream. So am I going okay, or is this making sense? I can't look at any responses while I'm doing this, but let Heidi know that the speed is okay. So we're going to look at a few dreams, not too many, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the course that we have, but you're already going to get information from these dreams, and then we're going to answer any questions that you've sent in. So, okay, people are saying everything's going great. So this dream is called I'm a Tour Guide. And the lady says, I'm a tour guide covering for someone else. It's an historical tour with stops where I, as the guide, will comment on each stop. The first stop isn't very far in and is an antique desk or piece of furniture. It's wood and really pretty. There are people on the tour, including 2 women. I don't feel confident in my tour guide capabilities, but I know I have the cheat sheet and use it to explain the piece. Okay, so what is it about? We have right at the start, the dreamer says, I'm a tour guide. So if we take away the word tour, they're saying I'm a guide. And then later, straight away, she says, I as the guide. So we know this dreamer is a guide, and guides are always teachers and leaders. And this can be surprising to a person to discover that they're a guide. Indeed, it was for this person. And she didn't believe it. But her dreams are clearly saying she's a guide. So she didn't believe she's a guide. The surprise, of course, was that she says, I don't know the answers to everything, and I don't feel enlightened. I don't even know what my life is about, and so on. And this is common. Just because you're a guide, it doesn't mean that you do know these things. You still have to get in touch with what your life is about. But what's interesting here, and why I picked this dream, is we have another dream from this dreamer straight after this. So when we look at a series of dreams and we interpret them accurately, your dreams are going to shift. They're going to immediately shift onto a comment about how you've taken on what you learned about that last dream. So that's really, really important. So it's not just a one-way conversation. They really are a dialogue. They're a dialogue when they're happening, but they're also, they move along as your awareness increases. So we will see after this dream what the dreamer's getting from her higher self, because that's where the dreams come from, what she's being told immediately after she's being told that you're a guide. Anyway, the historical tour says that she has an ability to look at people's past lives. And we also had that from the antique desk later on in the dream. So she's a guide with an ability to look at people's past lives. Now, at the time that I told her what this dream meant, she had never channeled and she had never connected with anybody's past life, but she's doing it now, and she does it with ease, absolutely no problem. People ask her for help in areas of their lives, and she's able to immediately get issues that the dreamer brought with them from another lifetime that they need to heal, and how that issue is affecting them today. But we can see that in this dream. And of course, we bring those things with us on purpose. We bring them with us so that we can heal them, so we no longer have them as an issue. But anyway, looking at the next pieces of the dream, we see her saying, I don't feel confident. So again, this means when it comes to her abilities as a guide, she doesn't feel confident. Now, this is before she knew that she was a guide consciously, but in the dream, we know what's going on. We know what the dream means. And then she has the cheat sheet, so she feels like she's cheating, again, when it comes to her abilities. And then we see, she says there are people on the tour, including 2 women. So she points them out. So that's really important. So that says that she needs to include her female side. And then the number 2 in dreams is quite often about channeling. So she needs to include her female side and learn to channel. In fact, she can channel, but she needs to realize that she can do it at this time in her life. So that's what she has to do. And then she's got to use it. And then, of course, we have the explaining the antique desk. That's her skill in a nutshell. She can explain a period piece or how something from a former life affects a person's life today. So she can relate past periods to today and how they can be used today. So very straightforward. And of course, it's a great thing to know you're a guide, because it means that you've already dealt with all the lessons that the earth plane has, and you're here for other reasons. And so let's have a look at what happened when she got this dream. So she had a dream then shortly afterwards, and she titled it An Expensive Gift. She says, I was with Michael, that's me. He wore all black. He seemed slicker than in real life. He gave me a silver necklace. It was made of thin mesh silver, a lightweight pendant on a chain. The necklace had 2 rows of 3 diamonds, 6 in total. I felt I didn't deserve this necklace. When he gave it to me, he said it was part of my heritage or lineage, and I felt a surge of energy throughout my body when he handed it to me. He was super excited, but I was very questioning. I said I was unsure, and I told him I was not confident. I said, what if you're wrong? He said, no. We were in a large, lofty type house, and he was up on a higher level than me while we had our conversation. So it almost doesn't need interpretation. We can see what's going on in the dream. I give her a gift in the dream, and she is saying, oh, this is too expensive. This, is too much to give to me. It doesn't belong to me. But let's analyze it anyway from start to finish. First of all, she puts me up on a higher level. So dreams put people on higher levels or objects on higher levels in order to get you to look up to them, like the cargo container in the dream we already had. So this is asking her to respect what I've told her previously. So this new dream is trying to get her to accept that. So the silver necklace is about her gifts. They say she's psychic. She has a strong intuition. And then the thin mesh silver chain. So a silver chain is about, or chains are about karma and about being tied to something that you need to do. But in her case, it's a thin mesh, so it could easily be broken. So it's a weak karmic connection. And when we come here, we almost always bind karma to ourselves so that we can stay here on the earth plane. We need to do something. It's like wearing weights when you go scuba diving. We need to do something in order to make our density, our energy more dense so that we can drop down to this dense level. So anyway, she's bound karma to her where she's going to help other people through using her intuition, and that's what the silver represents. And then we have 2, which is about the channeling, which we already had in her past dream. And the 3 diamonds ask her to commit, because of the number 3, commit to her precious gifts. And we're skipping some stuff. Now, why am I black in the dream? Why am I wearing black? Black is a color for fear. So she's afraid to accept what I've told her, and she already knows that. So it feels like too much. She feels like she didn't deserve it, like she says here. She's feeling like she's not worthy. She's very questioning, very straightforward. And when it comes to this again, she's unsure. So we can see how this is the big theme of this dream. So it's addressing that, and she doesn't feel confident. So all these things are said in relation to what she learned about herself. She's afraid, she's not worthy, she's questioning, she's unsure, she's not confident. So we see quickly how dreams move once we know what one dream is about. And of course, if we don't know what the dream is about, we're just going to get the same thing over and over again using different symbols telling us the same thing. But here, because she knows, the dream has moved on and it's going to tell her what she needs to do. So here it's saying it's part of her heritage. So the dream is saying, look, you need to accept your heritage. So accept who you are. This is who you are. You're born into this, and you need to be excited about it. Don't be afraid. You need to be super excited. Just like in the dream, she says she felt a surge of energy and was super excited. That's what she needs to bring to reality. So continuing with this dream, it doesn't all fit on the one screen. So this is the same dream, but we see the same thing in a different way here in this part of the dream. The necklace was expensive and I knew he paid too much. Someone else was with me and we were questioning how much he paid for it. I was really concerned with him spending so much on me. So me and this other person went to a checkout, or to check out how much the necklace cost. We went to the store. The person I was with was convinced that the diamonds were not real, but instead cheap versions. So we see the 2 people are both her in the dream. So partly she is hoping that it's not true, and partly she's hoping it is true. Anyway, she said, I hoped she was right, but knew she wasn't. A saleswoman helped me. So a saleswoman in a dream is a guide. So what she's doing is she's bringing the knowledge or the information that she's been given by me in the previous dream analysis. She's bringing that to her guides in her next dream. And she's saying, look, is this true? Because she already trusts her guides in her dream in reality. So anyway, so the saleswoman looked at the necklace and then took us to the back room. I told the person I was with, it must be real. She's taking us to the back room. The saleswoman confirmed that it was a very expensive necklace. I couldn't believe he'd spent so much on me. I went back and saw him and gave him a huge hug to thank him. He seemed much taller than me. So again, the being taller and the being higher are all about showing that this is part of your higher purpose anyway. So we have the necklace is expensive. We have, if we're analyzing it again, and we have the not real and the cheap version. So this is what, this is her dichotomy, hoping she was right, but knew that this is her friend, knew she wasn't. I explained the saleswoman as a guide, but really the point of this dream is for the saleswoman to confirm that what she's found out is true. So the way it works is, when we sleep, our consciousness and let go of our physical consciousness, we can leave our bodies and move our consciousness to the astral plane, and we can meet our guides, we can meet loved ones, and we can meet all sorts of people there. So we do that, and we meet our guides and we talk to them, and we then remember in a dream, because we can't just take that information straight through. Some people can take it back to the physical plane, but most of us can't. So what we do is we integrate the conversations that we've had with our guides into a dream, because we can bring a dream with us. So that's what she's done here. So the conversation really did happen, and we see it here in symbolic form where she's meeting the saleswoman. So anyway, the point of these two dreams is to show how our dreams shift, and then how this dream, for instance, is encouraging her to accept it, and accept it because it's not new to her now. It's just about accept it and realize that your guides are backing up what you've learned about yourself. So really a nice dream, kind of funny in a way. So what time have we got now?
6:28.
Okay, so we're doing fine. So if you're happy with the way it's going, we will keep going on. So you can use what you're learning from this with the symbols that you get as part of the handout. Anyway, so this dream I'm going to look at in two different ways. It's called Flying with an Eagle. I was on top of a mountain on a sunny day and I jumped off it. I was flying very, very high over lots of mountains that were brown and green. I felt very light and free when I was flying. After some time, this big eagle joins me for the ride and we fly together. He leads me to a point where there is a valley and I land in front of a fortune teller's table. She has a stand where she sells jewelry. She says to me, "Take these earrings and put them on you." I put them on and she says that I will look and hear much better with them. I actually felt very beautiful after putting them on. Okay, so two different ways I'm going to do this one. One where we're breaking out the symbols and just looking at it the way we've done the previous ones. And then the other one as a story, which we can do. But just to show you how dreams are not just a jumble of things. They're very specific and pointed. And I've skipped lots of things in the previous dreams that were giving a lot more information that we don't skip on the course. Because we have the time to do it there. So anyway, what have we got? We have the eagle, and then we have a fortune teller. So eagles, because they fly so high, or any very high flying bird, the way it's described is that from their high vantage point, they can see the past, present, and future. So an eagle or a high flying bird represents that in a dream. So represents the dreamer has a fortune telling ability, but we know that anyway because we see a fortune teller in the dream. So the dreamer is prophetic. Now, not many people have this. And then we have earrings, and we have a reference to being able to hear better. And then we also have flying with the eagle. So these three things tell us that the dreamer is a clairaudient channel. So they can communicate with their guides, but they hear them rather than many of the ways that it works. So it's always important to know which way it works for you. We had somebody on the show last Thursday, for instance, who has a channel and had read a book about it. But if you're trying to channel a way that works for somebody else but isn't your particular way, then it's just not going to work for you. So you need to know how it's going to work. Anyway, she's a clairaudient channel. And the selling jewelry says that the dreamer needs to sell her gifts or needs to use them commercially. And that's very encouraging too. Now, a lot of people are afraid of that. A lot of people who work in the spiritual field initially have difficulty charging for using their abilities. But it's just like any ability, like accounting, even driving a taxi. People charge for their services. And you should charge for your service. Fine if you're learning and you want practice and you want to hone your skills, absolutely no problem. But don't fall into the trap of viewing your ability as something that isn't worth anything financially. And the reason for that, there's a couple of reasons. One is you need to respect your abilities, but the other is if you're meant to use it commercially, if you're meant to support yourself through channeling, then obviously you're going to do a lot more channeling than if you just do it as a sideline. So if you don't do the full thing, there's a lot of people who you're meant to help who aren't going to come your way because you're not putting yourself out there. Anyway, we also have the I need. So let's have a look at, if we look at this as a story. So starting at the top, we have to jump off. So this is the beginning of my journey. This is my jump off point. What I need to do is I need to meditate, which is what the flying can symbolize. And I need to do that in order to raise my vibration and practice being light and free. So meditate a lot and do this for some time. And after I do this, I will connect with my guide. And that's what the eagle joining her in the dream is about. So if I start meditating and keep meditating, eventually I'm going to connect with my guides and we will get comfortable together, and my guide will lead me to develop my prophetic ability, which is what the fortune teller's table is about. And that's what's on the table for me. So that's what I'm accountable for. We have the expression, what's on the table. I'm to use it commercially and along with my clairaudient gift, and as well as helping other people, it's going to help me to see my own beauty. So that's just looking at the same dream from top to bottom. So they are like a story. And if we have lots of parts of our dreams, if we have lots of paragraphs, dreams quite often repeat the story over and over again with a subtle difference, maybe a different time point. But anyway, I'm not sure if that's the end of the sets of dreams. Oh no, I have a couple more. Are you happy for me to keep going, or are your brains full? I can do another couple. I just like this one. It shows coming to the planet. So my favorite aspect of dream interpretation is answering, why did I come here? What did I come here for? And what do I need to do while I'm here? And how am I doing, indeed? How am I doing in achieving my life purpose? Am I on track? Or maybe I'm doing something that's completely wrong for what I'm meant to be doing. I'm meant to be doing something completely differently. And we see that in some people's dreams, unfortunately, too. And that would be where you copy somebody else, or you decide and a particular thing is good and you develop it. And it is good, but it's not necessarily something that's meant to be part of your life path. Anyway, we have, I'm an astronaut and I'm preparing for re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. So this is about coming back to the Earth plane. So I love how she says that straight off, re-entry into the Earth's atmosphere. I'm not in a shuttle or a capsule, but instead I'm in my astronaut suit and I'm supposed to line up with this awesome water slide that guides me back to the planet's surface. So this is really cool. We almost always will see it in dreams and when people channel and are guided through hypnosis to the interlife state. There's almost always a water point that is the entry point back into the dense Earth plane. So this water slide guides them back onto the planet's surface. I find it with no problem and start my descent. But while I'm on it, I realize that it's very steep, and I'm thinking it would be way easier on my body if the slide were not as steep and was more gradual. Nevertheless, the ride was exciting, and I woke up before I reached the ground. So we see here coming back to the surface, so we know it's about birth, and we know that there was issues with the dreamer in her birth. Now, we don't really see what they are here. We just know that it's a difficult birth. But the next dream, very short, is from the same dreamer. And this one tells us, so these two dreams were in the same night. And this also tells us what her ability is, what she brought with her. So she says, first I was driving a car and I was all alone, but my sister was following me in her car and we came upon this tunnel that somehow went straight down into the ground. So again, this is about coming to the Earth plane. I started down it, but I found that it was very steep and then it started going straight down. This scared me, so I backed up and told her we had to find another route. Next thing I know, I'm a passenger in a different car and Taylor Swift is driving. We are singing along to her songs on the radio. So what markup have I got on this? I just have Taylor Swift. So Taylor Swift anyway tells us, because she's a musician and a singer, tells us that the dreamer is a channel. So she came here to be a channel, and we know that because, well, we do it in detail on the course, but music comes from the spirit world. Anybody who's had near-death experiences, they talk about hearing this harmonious music as they go through their travels and so on. But music is a very good symbol for indicating you're a channel. But I want to see if I've got other things marked on this. So we have the Taylor Swift and the singing and the radio. So all those three tell us she's a channel. And then we have the tunnel that's going straight down is about her being born. And we knew from the last dream that she had difficulty at her birth, and indeed she did. And she's a twin. So when she says I was coming with my sister, she did come with her sister. And the difficulty at their birth was so much that the doctor switched and decided to bring them in through cesarean section. And so we see that in the dream here where she's saying to her sister, we need to go back up and find another route. And indeed they do find the other route. Now, trauma at the start of your life is quite often a way people bring spiritual abilities with them because of the trauma and the poor bond and the difficulty with getting to the earth plane. The fear of that, that comes with that trauma makes us step back a bit, and we just see it a lot as a way to bring abilities in. So I think they're all the dreams I have marked. I have another one there, but I think we'll probably skip it because we're at 6:37 here, and move on. So that's it. I hope that made sense, but that's the type of information we can get from looking at people's dreams. And have I skipped a slide? I haven't. So what is the Dream Trackers Guide course? The course is about us doing that, Heidi and me together, working out what your dreams are about, Heidi talking with your guides and channeling for you and getting more information than we see in the dreams. But it's all about working out the strong detail, and then as your dreams change over the course of 8 weeks, we examine the changes in your dreams and see what needs to be done. So quite often you have to do things in order for the ability to come in strong. Sometimes you don't. So whatever comes up in the dream, and the dream's going to be specific, it's going to say, here's what you need to work on. You need to work on issues that come from the age 2 or issues that come from the age 12 or whatever it happens to be. But we help you with that. We work with you to deal with those issues so that by the end of the course they're dealt with. So we have lots of different things in it. So this is just a summary of what we've got in the course. The first module does the rules of interpretation, the roles characters play in dreams. So we have everybody, men and women represent male and female sides. They can also represent all sorts of different aspects of you, and we cover those in details. We cover a formula, you've seen bits of it there, the I am and I need, which helps you be objective about your dream and look at it in objectively and extract the symbols for yourself. And we find that people have a good ability to do that after the course, because the course is teaching you about dreams as well as us interpreting them for you. And then we cover a lot of the physical aspects of dream interpretation. Because if you have an illness, obviously if you have one now, you're going to want to work on that illness and help yourself improve with the illness, to eliminate it or improve it or do whatever you can. But dreams will focus on those things and say, this is where it comes from, this is what you need to do to deal with that. And sometimes we need to deal with those things in order for our abilities to come in strongly. So our dreams will link them up. So the digestive and elimination system is one of the things. Our dreams want us to be healthy and eat healthy and so on. And then module 3 is all about life purpose, where that starts, life purpose and spiritual abilities. So what did you bring with you to the planet? What are your gifts for other people? And well, there's enough on that. We start then with counseling. What is counseling? How does it show up in dreams? How do you know if you're a counselor? How do you know if you're a psychic or an intuitive? They're the same thing. Module 4, we go back to health and we look at emotions, the heart and circulatory system. But emotions, to be emotionally healthy is really important. Our dreams are always going to try and encourage us to have our heart chakra emotionally balanced. And that is needed for us to stay healthy. And it's also needed for any abilities that are going to use female energy. And channeling uses female energy, so too does counseling, so does a prophetic ability. Hands-on healing is module 5. That's where you channel energy through your hands, through your body, out through your hands into your clients. And that seems alien to a lot of people, but even though they've heard about it before. So we've had many people who have healing abilities but think that they're healing through channeling or healing through their counseling. That's absolutely true, you are. But hands-on healing is a different thing altogether, and it's where you can raise somebody's vibration and work on their physical problems through energy you can channel. And if you've got it, it's very important that you use it. You can actually become ill if you've got a healing ability and you don't use it. Module 6 is about the power of the mind. So some people have strong abilities, strong mental abilities. They can project their mind onto others. They can do hypnosis, absent healing, and other things too. Quite often work in marketing and sales because they know that they've got this strong ability. So we cover that in detail in Module 6. The reproductive system in Module 7, very important. Very important if you're having difficulty having a child, but it's also important because it's our creative center. So our creative center is often linked to things that we want to do that are creative. And of course, our attitude, if you're a woman, your attitude towards your femininity is very important. Do you feel like you would be much better off in society as a man? And if you have any negative attitudes towards your femininity or towards your gender, dreams can point that out and say, look, you need to fix that. It's not, the problem isn't with your gender, the problem is with society. No problem blaming society, but don't hurt yourself by having negative thoughts about part of your body. Module 8 is all about communication with spirits, and at that point is when Heidi really dives into the course strongly, and she gets inundated with questions from people, and that's really good. It takes the pressure off me, but she is available from the start. And there's lots and lots of different ways of channeling, and she shows there. So you can see my cut and paste here. Module 7 is about how dreams predict the future. Have you got a prophetic ability? Even if you don't, your dreams are going to show you what's in store for you if you stay on the path that you're currently on, and what you need to do to stay on that path if it is something that you want, and what you need to do to get off that path if you don't. Module 10 is about writing. Are you a writer? What type of writing are you meant to do? And how is it shown up in your dreams? Module 11 is about spiritual teaching and leading, and really an important one too. If you've got that ability to help others, spiritual teaching is not like about being the president. It's about helping others through empowering them. It works through female energy as well, and it's really, if you're a spiritual teacher, you help other people in a way that they don't need your help. If they were to hit the same problem again. Works through an open and compassionate heart. And Module 12 is all about the meaning of colours in dreams. That sounds very abstract, but it's not abstract at all. We instinctively know a lot about colours and what they mean in our dreams. Because colours are very important in our aura, and different chakras are connected with different colours and have all to do with different parts of how we process things. So we get a lot from that. And then Module 12, we also do the meaning of numbers in our dreams. So that's basically it. That's a summary of the course, and we still have good time because I'm going to hand over to Heidi. You've been looking at the questions, I hope, and I'll just say what you need to do if you want to find out more about the course, go to dreamtrackersguide.com, and there's all the information about the courses there. This is what you'll see when you go to that, dreamtrackersguide.com. If you a little video about me talking about the course, what you get on it. You'll also see on the same page information about why to learn to interpret dreams. Some of the things you get in it, it talks about the video modules, the 12 that I just summarized. You get lots of downloadable guides and toolkits, access to a Dream Mastermind community, tens and tens of videos of me interpreting dreams. In much more detail than we just did here. Live Q&As with me and Heidi. People on the middle tier got at least 3 calls with me on the last course, so 3 hours spread out over the course each individually, and 2 hours with Heidi. And that's in addition to all the dreams that we analysed and all the questions that we analysed in the forums. You get a certificate of achievement. You also get lifetime access, which is really access to the Ruzuku system that contains all the modules and information. And you get that for a year, but you'll get it for more than a year. I'm guaranteeing for a year because if Ruzuku shut their doors, then it's gone. But they've been around for many years, and as long as they're around, you've got the access. And then you also get a dictionary of symbols, so that's going to help you look at your own dreams. There's also some bonuses. For the first 15 to register, you get access to Heidi right away from the start. And that's really good. You can ask her questions about anything. You get the calls with me as well. And like I said, people got more than one the last time around. You get a guarantee. So if you don't like the course at any point, we will gladly give you your money back, and you don't have to do anything other than send us an email and say you want a refund. Now, 30 days in, you've almost completed the whole course at that point, so you really know whether you like it or not. So you can get a lot and test it and see whether you like it. That. And then on that same page, there's the ability to join us. There's the different levels. You can join with a one-time payment of $897, or you can do monthly payments. There are different levels, again, with one-time payments or subscriptions, and then there's a top level. And you can read on the site what the difference between the levels is. There's also lots of testimonials there as well. And with that, I'm going to ask Heidi, what are our questions?
Okay. I have some. I've moved the questions that were asked to a different form, so I can just ask you directly. So the first one is from
Erin. She says,
I had a dream about biting my fingernails. And that was it. That was the whole dream.
Okay. So
and she's wondering why
she usually has lots.
Okay, so filing your fingernails is going to be something to do with kids. So teeth and nails are about raising our children, typically in dreams. They can be about other things, but most likely that's the most common. 75% of dreams that have those in them are going to be about that. So if you're thinking about having a child or have issues with raising a child, then that's what it is going to be about. Next one.
Okay. And usually you have short dreams as well when you're paying attention to them.
Yeah, if you're following your dreams or you're doing the therapy, you'll have lots of really short dreams, but you'll feel like, oh my gosh, I had 15 dreams last night, I didn't get any sleep at all. And that's really good. And the reason they're short is because you are accepting the message in the dreams quickly. So that's it. As soon as you accept it, as soon as you take on board what the message is, then the dream shuts down so you don't spoil it and moves on to the next thing. What else have we got there?
The next question is from Obadana. I hope I got that right. I apologize.
So she just
wants to know if there is a link between these four recent dream titles as all they submitted. On a mountaintop, monastery, 7th floor. Then second one is lost a leg in a Japanese monastery.
Right, well, 2 monasteries there, perhaps.
Getting a new assignment and leaving the farm, taking the top brass. So 4 dreams.
Okay, I only heard, so the first one was a mountaintop, the second one was a monastery, and then in Japan losing a leg in the monastery. So definitely the dream is about your spiritual side, because that's what a monastery is going to be about. The mountaintop, because of the high location, is also about your spiritual side. When it's a really, really big mountain, like a mountain that people go, oh yeah, that's this giant one that people climb, it's often about the fact that you have a connection with the physical plane and the spirit plane at the same time, because the mountain goes up to that level. And then you have the losing a leg. So when you say in a Japanese monastery, so if you've been to Japan, then it can be different for you. If you haven't been to Japan, Japan is about extremism because of the samurai, what most of us Westerners know about Japan, and the what's it called, harikiri, where you fall on your sword, so that being really hard on yourself and extremism. So losing a leg will be about doing something that is blocking your ability to move forward. So the rest of the dream will give you what it is you need to do in order that you don't block yourself. And the 7th floor, there was a 7 in it somewhere. So the 7 is about the 7 is the crown chakra, which is our spiritual center. So that's also about your spirituality. So your dreams are about your spiritual path, plain and simple, all of those dreams.
So I heard there's an echo, so I just moved over to Michael's.
Have you got the microphone on yours? Okay.
And so there's just a question from Jamie. She's asking, will this course for sure show me my life purpose?
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100% guaranteed. And if it doesn't, I'm happy to give you your money back. So that's what we do. And everybody on our last course was really happy with it, ecstatic even, and got out of it what they wanted. So we have the different tiers. The top tier is quite expensive. And that's because it takes a lot of our time, and we bring other people other than the 2 of us. We bring them in as well. And we will do things to remove blocks, lots of blocks, but a lot of the time you can do those things on your own, and we encourage you to do those things on your own, do work on your own. And we can see from your dreams the progress you're making. Yeah, absolutely, there's no question of it, because it's in your dreams, it's in all your dreams. So if you give us over the course of, some people have a lot of dreams, some people don't, some people have 3 dreams a night, you can be guaranteed you're going to give us the dreams that are very, very specific about what your life purpose is. But we will look at all of them, and we'll tell you anything that's really important. We're not going to skip anything that you shouldn't be aware of.
And this next question from Kalani: when you have a lot of dreams with a lot of symbols pertaining to the heart, the circulatory system, how exactly do you know what the dream is asking of you? Is it about being more open with others, or more loving, or something else? Well,
they're both the same thing. Loving yourself and being open with others. It's really about being open with yourself, being open to knowing what your own feelings are. So if we are in a society that has, and this is a whole module in the course, and we included in this module is how to do something to open your heart. So we had somebody on the last course, for instance, that was the guarantee they wanted, that their heart chakra would be open by the end of the course, and indeed it was. So absolutely, we know what we're doing there, and we know what you need to do in order to get to that point. You have to do the work, but we can monitor it through your dreams. But we live in a society that is very much pushes academia, so logical understanding and comprehension all the way through school trump everything else. And we're never asked, how do you feel about things? And these things can be measured. Our academic system doesn't push it. So our dreams are going to say, look, if you have physical health issues with your heart, or emotional issues with your heart, which will eventually lead to physical health issues, your dreams are going to say, look, you need to do something to open it up. But the problem with that is, unless you've already opened your heart, you don't know what it feels like to have an open heart chakra. And it's a bit like riding a bike. If you've never ridden a bike, you don't know what it feels like. But once you've ridden it, you then can understand and talk to everybody else who's ridden a bike, because you now have something in common with them. But before that point, you don't. But yes, absolutely, on the course, there are techniques and things we will do to help you definitely get to the point where you know what that feels like. And we will tell you specifically why in your dreams the heart chakra is coming up for you, whether it's about emotionally sharing, whether it's about relationships, issues in a relationship that cause you to close down, or whether it's something else in your life that has you so closed off that you're not even aware of your own feelings. Because we quite often do these from a very young age, do this closing down at such a young age that as adults we have forgotten what it ever felt like to have our heart chakra open, and we don't know that we're closed off. So our dreams are going to remind us when we closed off, why we closed off, and what we need to do in order to open up again. I hope that answered that.
And Teresa asked, what spiritual gift is depicted by someone guiding people to encourage and support others, and more recently, the symbol of a cheerleader?
Oh, excellent. Well, if you're having that in your dreams, then it's encouraging you to use your abilities to encourage and support other people get into using theirs. And if I remember, if you're the same Teresa, you found the show, you have prophetic ability and a strong intuition. So your dreams are going to be about how you're going to use those to help other people. But the cheerleading is really fantastic to see in the dream, because it's saying using your female side, because I'm going to assume it's a female cheerleader, using your own feminine strengths, you're going to help other people by giving them the boost, giving them the understanding and the push through female energy that they need in order to feel capable to move into using their own abilities.
And now another one from Kalani. Michael, you've mentioned that when you are presented with challenges in life that seem to keep happening, they will continue to keep happening and rather showing up in your dreams until you overcome them or learn what you were supposed to from them. Even then, it will happen one more time. Can you explain the purpose of the challenge happening one more time?
All right, okay.
And how you go about getting to that point?
So the important thing to realize is our dreams tell us what we need to do to overcome our obstacles. And we have these obstacles. And that's, life is about growing and improving ourselves. So we know we have work to do. Any of us who have our eyes open, we know we have work to do. We know we can improve ourselves. But the way our life normally is designed, we attract events and things into our lives that will show us that we have that work to do. Things are going to annoy us. Things are going to make us feel depressed. Things are going to make us feel like we need to give up. or whatever it happens to be. I'm just picking negatives. Of course, positive things will happen too, and they'll show up in our dreams as well. But so our things are going to happen that we're asking, why does this happen? Why is it happening to me again and again and again? But eventually we do something, and we do some therapy, or we do something that could even be very straightforward that makes us move beyond that point. And your question is, why does it happen again after that? And the reason is, if we imagine that we're attracting those things into our lives so that we know they're happening. So we're walking along a path and we want something to happen periodically so that I get an opportunity to respond to that event or learn about myself because of how I react to an event happening. And if I react properly and grow through the experience, then there's no need for that event to happen again. But if I do a therapy, now, so an event hasn't happened and it's set up in my future to happen so that I can grow, but I do something that eliminates the need for that event to manifest. It's already been set up on my path. So it's going to happen because it was deemed at some point by me and my guides and my higher self that it needed to come in. And once it was already set up to happen, it's going to happen. Now, it will diminish. If it was something that's way in the distance, then it may never happen. So, it's not always going to happen, but it nearly always does. But the reason I say that is so that you realize that you haven't gone backwards. This thing has happened because it was already there and set to happen. And if you can just let it pass through you, pass by you, then you already know you've dealt with everything, and that's fine. So hopefully that answers that question.
You can probably see my head bobbing in and out of the picture there. I'm just trying to make up for the echo on the mic. So this is the last question. We have only about 3 minutes left here. Lois asked, "Hi, I have had what many people call intuitive dreams. Usually they are connected to death. But my question is, how can I get myself to dream about people who meant a lot to me but have passed away?"
Oh, okay. Well, your dreams are going to focus on the weakest aspect of your functioning in present time. So we don't get to say, I want to have this dream. And I often joke on the radio, if I could write a book that would say, okay, here's what you need to do to dream about your favorite movie star or your heartthrob or whatever, that book would sell. But we can't do that. We can sort of nudge our dreams in a direction. But our dreams are going to focus on the weakest aspect of our functioning in present time. And that's how it works. So they're going to say, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And if something else comes in that trumps what you need to do, that is more important, then your dreams are going to switch. Or if you deal with the issues that your dreams point out and accept, for instance, your ability, your strong intuition, and start using it and trusting it, then you no longer need to have those dreams and they'll switch to something else. And that might be enough for you to be able to have dreams about people who've moved on that you love. But one reason that we don't dream about people who've moved on that we love is if we miss them a lot. That can stop those dreams. But when we become aware of what life is about, and you work on channeling like Heidi does, then you can communicate with these people even while you're awake. And it's not that you don't meet them. You do meet them on the astral plane and you meet them regularly, but you don't bring it into your dreams because they don't want to bring that memory and that sense of loss again back into your life. So that will change if you can turn around how you look at the world. Was there anything else? We've probably got new ones in since you've collated
but only about 1 minute left, so that's all the ones I have selected for there. But I think I got all of them too. So, and we'll be doing this again at some point.
Yes. So this is our first one. We would love your feedback, even by email, to let us know what you think, because we can change it, do things in it to make it more appealing, maybe change dreams and so on. But that's it. The idea was to give you a sense of how specific dreams are, and rushing through them. I know we were rushing through them, but to show you how they can focus on your life purpose and tell you what you're really here for. But that's it. So if you want to move over, people will be able to see as well and say goodbye.
All right. Well, thank you for joining the webinar, and next time as well, we'll have, ask any questions. I'll be on the other side as well trying to answer.
Right. And thank you. Take care.